All right, so Firewoman by The Cult. This is just an awesome rock song. It's off the Sonic Temple album, which was produced by Bob Rock, and it was the first album that Bob Rock produced for these guys. And I think his production made just a massive difference in their sound because he is just such a great producer. Like, there's nobody gets drum sounds and great rock guitar sounds like he does. Just an awesome producer. And also, before I get going here, I just have to talk about the drummer on this album, and his name is Mickey Curry. And he is probably more known for playing with Bryan Adams. He's been with Bryan Adams for a long time. He's just a great drummer, you know. He really lays down a solid beat, and he kind of is a very old school drummer, similar to John Bonham and Ringo. You know, guys who play behind the beat. And to me, his feel on this song just completely makes the song. You know, apart from Billy Duffy's just great guitar playing and really hooky lines that he comes up with and catchy parts. Mickey Curry, I think, made the difference on this song. And it just, like when I did the demo, I played to a drum machine, right? And it's it's totally different, you know, because the drum machine is just dead on all the time. And I'm old school. I try and, or I don't try to, but I just tend to play behind the beat. And with drum machines, sometimes that just doesn't work out that great. This didn't turn out too bad, but anyways, there's nothing beats a great drummer, especially a guy like Mickey Curry. Okay, so let's get going on this. It's in the key of D, and it's basically three chords: D, C, and G, and there's also an F in there. Okay, so there's not a lot of chords in it, and it's very similar to She Sells Sanctuary, because it's just that's not how you play it like this, right? But the bass is moving between the C, or the D, the C, and the G. So it's very similar to that. It's also very similar to Love Removal Machine, which is another great lick that Billy Duffy came up with. It's kind of the same song almost, just improved, right? So it's going to start with his G chord here, and we're going to go. Now, there's a lot of stuff going on in the intro. There's a lot of swirling guitars and weird noises. But the basic part is this. So we're going to start on that E3 note, the G. Skip the A and hit the open D, open G. Try an upstroke on that G. And then we're going to hit the C note. And then the open D and the open G again. And if you upstroke on that G string, then you're down on the D. And the D is kind of like a power chord. Okay, just the open D, G2, and B3. And if you want to throw that E note in there, you could, right? Because that's in there, but that's in the second guitar part that I'll get to in a minute. So that's the first line. Now the second line, we're going to go to this chord, which is like an F, but just take your middle finger off to give you that G note, which is the ninth, right? And also, we've got that open E. So we've got the major seventh there, and the open G, which is the ninth. So you get that real airy chord, and that's what this is based on. And he goes like this. So A string, D string, G string. Again, try and backstroke that G string. And now we're going to drop our finger down here onto the E note on D2. And we're going to go D string, G string, and the C note on B1. And try and upstroke that. So real slow. And then that power chord D, right? And in that particular way, I use my little finger You could use your third, but I mean, use whatever fingers you want, whatever feels good to you. So that whole thing then would be. And there's a lot of delay going on in this, and like I said, a lot of, like my setting is I'm using a pitch detune, +8, -8, very similar to what I used on my She Sells Sanctuary lesson, and then the flanger and the delay and just some reverb. But the key is, and I've got quite a bit of gain on my amp, but the key is to have your volume down on the guitar, right? Like if I have my volume at 7, you're going to get this. You know, which is just way too much. Okay, so what I've done is I will get that and take it down to about 2. Even less, you know, to clean it up, right? Okay, so that's kind of how I'm getting the sound. So to finish that off, we go back to the first pattern again, and then we just play this G chord without that. We don't need that third in there, so we're just going to mute that A string and hit that G chord. Okay, so that's the basic part, and if you're playing this by yourself, you're going to want to play that every time, because that's going to sound the best. Now, there's a second guitar part. There might even be 3 guitar parts in there, because there's a lot of weird stuff going on, a lot of notes. And the way I'm hearing the second guitar part is this. I'm just hearing him hit that open E string. So, same as the first guitar part. Just hit the open E. Now the next line would be so we've got that weird F chord. We got A string, D string, G string, and then E string, and then to the C note on B1, and then I hear him go, just arpeggiate that from B string, G string, D string. So. And then ever so slightly you can hear that sort of really behind, you know? So. Okay, so you'd have to really listen to the track to try and pick that up, but I can definitely hear that in there. And then we do it again. And then that same G chord, right? Now the next time, the second guitar goes like this. There's a lot to this intro, right? Way more than I thought. So what that is we're going to go. Right, hit that G note on E3, B string, G string, and then the C note on B1, and then the D chord, arpeggiated, B string, G string, D string, and then the same thing as before. So let's just do the first part. And the second guitar part. And then the second cycle of the second guitar part. So that's what I'm hearing. I don't, it's really hard to say exactly what's going on because there's so much swirling and delay and guitars coming in and out. And there's another, that really weird little, right at the beginning, if you really listen, and I put that in my demo, kind of buried it there, but there's just that weird sound going on. I don't even know what's making that sound, but that's sort of what you get. Okay, so that's it for that intro. And then, of course, that comes back in later as a break. In the breakdown, we're going to do it again. It's going to be different again. So the main guitar is going to start with the basic lick. And then the second time through, he's going to go like this. So we've got G string, B string, or sorry, E string, B string, G string. And then the C note on A3. Back to E string, B string. And then the D chord. And then just a regular one, right? And then just the standard one again. So the only different one is that one. And the other guitar part there is, I think it's doing the same thing. On the demo, I think I went. That one. I mean, these are all variations, right? So, like I said, if you're in a two-guitar band, you can work out who's going to do what. If you're just playing this by yourself, like I said, you're probably going to want to stick with just that one. But in that breakdown, you're probably going to want to go. Right? So it's just up to you to choose. Anyway, so that's that part. I'm sorry that took so long, but there's a lot going on there. So now we get into the verse. And it's actually the guitar hook, which is built around a verse. And we're just going to be chugging these chords, right? Which is like a D. And for that, I'm going to turn off my everything but the delay. Of course, on that G, before that we've got the big, we're going to hit that G at a low volume. And then we're going to turn up and hit it again. And do the pick scrape, right? And what I do when I pick scrape, I don't know how other guys do it. I don't think it really matters. I go in between, I like to go in between the A string and the D string. I'm actually scraping both strings. And then we're going to go down to a C, then we're going to drop that down one note, but keep those two, because we're only playing the first three strings. And we ended up da-da right on that G power chord. So. And you're going to have to really mute here, okay? Does it twice. And then the verse starts and it is exactly the same, except you don't go down to that G. But we do on the second time, right? Okay, and as we hit that G, there's a lead line comes in that goes. Okay, and that's just up here in the D pentatonic shape, and we're just going to go D12, G10, B13, and on the 12th fret of the B. Slides down, right? So Okay, so there's a lot going on, and of course these are all separate guitar tracks, right? And then we're going to get into this really cool. And what that is we're just going to outline these chords. So that's a D chord, going up to an F chord, to a G chord, back to an F chord, back to a D chord. And we're just going to go, right? Just root, fifth, root. And we're going to go. And then we just repeat that on the F, repeat it on the G, repeat it on the F. And what I think they did in the studio, because that is actually quite difficult to do, because when you come up to that F, it's quite a ways, you know, and what I'm doing is I'm getting that with my middle finger, and then I'm changing it, middle finger, okay, it's kind of awkward. So in the studio, I think they just went, you know, one guitar did that, and the other one went. And then one guitar does that G, 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 F up there, and the other one does it down here. And then we've got this lick, which is just F, G, F, G, F, G, open D. And then we're into the chorus. From that, and it's kind of that Keith Richards kind of thing, right? The first one is, right, while holding the D, down to a C, and that's da, da, da. Now we go to a G chord, and we're going to go, right, C, C, G, and you can upstroke on that last G, right? Back to the C, right? Then back up to the D, to the F, right? Now to a G, and sometimes I hear him going, right? And I think there is actually the spot he did it. I missed that in the demo. And then we do it again, right? So that whole thing would be, and it does it twice, and then we're it does a whole other guitar hook and verse, right? And I'll show you the guitar hook in a second, but we'll just finish up with the rhythm here. Okay, so after that, I believe it's the second chorus. You know, he's gonna change it up a bit, and he's gonna go. Right, just adding those extra rhythmic notes, right? And then we're going to get into the break, and the break is just a D, and then like a C chord. It's actually like a G chord with a C in the bass, turn it down so you can hear it better. D, G over C, and then G over B, back to G over C, and that's like the guitar solo, right? And then we're going to be into turn down, right? And then, of course, at this point, I'd turn the flanger and the pitch back on, but I'll just leave it for now. So we're back into that, right? And then coming out of that, we're into this crazy, like, instrumental break. And that's like an A chord, a G chord, a D chord over an F sharp in the bass, back to a G chord, G chord, right then. Now you can play chords or you can just play. He's doing all those slides and stuff in there, right? Okay, and then we're back into the chorus, okay? All right, so there's a lot of guitar parts in this song. I'll show you the main line. The main line is, and Billy Duffy likes to play stuff on one string, right? Like going back to that one. You know, he just just one string, and this lead line is no different. He goes. So we're just going to start on that D note on is that G7, or actually starts in G5, up to G7, and then the F note on G10, and just a real subtle bend on that, back to the D note on G7. Now we're going to go, so G12, 10, 9, 5. And you might want to think, which will be just fine. You know, either way you want to do it, but he does it on one string, so there you go. And then he has a little alteration on that where he goes, just okay, so that's the basic hook line there. Okay, so now we'll get into the solo parts, and in the demo I just did the second half of the solo. Just that part, just the interest of keeping the demo short, right, and cutting down the repetition. But here I'll show you the whole thing. It's only another four bars, right? So it starts here. It's in this D minor pentatonic position 1, and it goes in that little extension box, and it ends up in this kind of A minor pentatonic shape. Okay, so we're going to start here with our first finger on the 12th fret of the D string, and just 1, 2, 3, and we kind of want to dig into that. And then we're going to do a full step bend on B13. And that kind of drifts down. I don't think he actually picks it again. He just drifts it down and then does that little trill. Right? And then he's going to go so that whole thing is going to sound like this. That's the first part of it. And then we're going to go full step bend on E13. And then just down from E13, E12, E10. Back up to E12. Right? That's to the B13 to the E10. And then slide up into B15, E13, full step bend on E15, pulling off to E13, landing on B15, right? That's that little extension box, right? So we've got okay, and then right away, the next part is going to come in here. I'll just play it first. So we're going to slide in, not slide in, but pre-bend. And that's kind of a half step bend. It's sort of in between half and full, right? And then he pulls it off. I think in the demo I just pulled it off, but I think he picks it. And then he goes a little trill there on between G9 and G10. Right? Kind of tricky, that one. Ending up on G10. And we go okay, just sort of a feel bend. And then we're going to finish it off by doing this. And that's a little extension box. Twice, right? From G14 to B13. B15 to E13. And then we're going to go third finger up on E17, slide up to E20, and then a full step bend with vibrato. Right, see it slides in there. Okay, now you could also finger that by going like this. Sliding up your first finger, right? Some people might find that easier. In fact, I think it is easier. Because you can just hammer on that E20 if you do it that way, right? Or either one, doesn't make any difference really, right? So just take your pick there. Okay, so that's it for the solo. Now, I'll just show you those licks over that crazy part where it... that A, G, D over F sharp, G part, where the drums are going crazy and the whole thing is just kind of going psychotic. Okay, so I'll show you that next. They're unison bends. So it starts on B5. And then we go up to B8. Then B10, back to B8. then back to B10, B12. Then we do this cool lick. And that's just kind of in this A minor pentatonic shape. Up on 19. We're going to do a bend there on G19 to the B string on B17. And then a pull off from 20. Right, just do that a bunch of times. So it's and then we bend up on B20 and put vibrato on it, right? Okay, so that's that little lick bit there. Okay, and that's pretty well all the guitar parts. I mean, it's not all of them because there's more like lead guitar fills and stuff, but and they're great, you know, but none of them are really totally that memorable to me, so I didn't really include them. Mostly it's the rhythm stuff, right, and the hook lines. Anyways, great song, really a lot of fun to play, you know, if you got a good drummer that can kind of hold you back on this song and play it with good feel. Anyways, hope you get something out of this video. Hope you enjoy playing the song, and yeah, we'll talk to you next time.